Chapter 8. As Christmas approached, all the kids in my class were excited about what gifts they might get from Santa. The TV toted all kinds of toys, and that's all the kids talked about. I wasn't enthused about any of the crap they advertised on TV. Bob had said that the media made it an annual crap fest that made a mockery of Jesus' birth with all their sales and hype to meet their sales quota. I agreed with him. Daddy was on the fence about it, while Nancy loved everything about the Christmas season. I was sitting in their kitchen while my dad went somewhere with Bob. She had given me a cookie and a glass of milk and was talking about all the pastries and cookies she was going to bake. "Tell your dad you want to help," she prompted. I shrugged my shoulders. I don't know. I don't like messing around in the kitchen. I suddenly felt bad because she looked almost hurt by that little piece of truth. "But you like eating cookies, right?" she said, brightening back up. "Oh yeah, love the eating part," I agreed. I wasn't crazy about milk though. "Then you can cut out the cookies and put the cookie dough on the baking sheets. The cookies will make the whole house smell good enough to eat." I scrunched up my nose, wondering why I would want to eat the house. "What do you want Santa to bring you?" she asked, as I didn't respond back to her comment. "Nothing," I replied. "Santa ain't real." I told Daddy that when I was 5, and I don't understand why people lie to little kids. He bought me a bike last year for Christmas. I still like it. And you guys bought me some cool clothes that I still wear. Now she looked baffled. "Well, Pumpkin, they tell kids that to make them think the world is a better and kinder place than it is, because soon enough you grow up and things can make you sad. Surely there's something you want for Christmas. A doll maybe? Or a board game?" I was thinking that as an adult she was really confused. My life was already hard. It seemed a lifetime ago when I had Stupid Boy as a friend. As soon as he'd left, I was back to not having any friends. It had been over a year ago, and that hadn't changed. The kids at school barely tolerated me, and they hated against me constantly. Daddy didn't even know what I was, and I knew I was something not of this world. I guessed I'd missed that little bit of time where Santa made things better. I want Speed Racer to visit again. That's what I'd like. I wanted to see Speed again, but I was also hoping he could tell me why everybody hated me. She looked baffled. "Pumpkin, I'm asking if you want something physical, like a toy. No one can buy you something you can't see, like joy or having someone to do something that you want them to do. I don't understand why you think Speed Racer is real." As we'd been talking, the conversation had gotten more aggravating, and now I was smashing half of the cookie that she had given me. She scolded me then and cleared off the table. I just stared at her. "Go ahead, child. Tell me about Speed Racer. You seem to want to talk about him," she prompted. I twisted around in my chair. There was so much I felt that she wouldn't understand. Hell, I didn't understand half of it. "Well, on TV he's not real, but the one time I saw him, he was a man," I explained. Then I went on to tell her exactly what we talked about and how he had taught me to drive. "You do seem to know how to drive." "You do seem to know how to drive." It seemed the only thing she could come up with to say. I pulled the metal M out of my pocket on its chain. I had taken it from the mirror of the Mach 5. "Here, this will prove it," I told her. She took the metal M from me and examined it as I told her where it had come from. She had me tell her everything I knew about Speed Racer, and she also wanted to know how I brought those children to the ground at the Pentecostal church where I was no longer welcome. I didn't realize that I should have kept my mouth shut about all of it. Daddy and Bob arrived back, and I didn't think anything of it when they all talked in the kitchen as I watched another cartoon called Recess. Then I had to repeat how I'd gotten the metal M from the Mach 5 because my dad and Bob wanted to know. Bob held it and looked at it. "I'm going to have this tested to prove that it's just an ordinary trinket, so you can stop telling this tall tale. I have a friend at the crime lab and they'll test it," he informed me as if I was lying. I really wanted it back, but I knew that wasn't happening. I thought I'd get a big boring lecture from my dad when I got home, but all he told me was that I shouldn't tell anyone else that story. He said that if it wasn't something normal that happened to other people, that I just needed to keep the experience between us. The next weekend, my dad strongly suggested that I help Nancy bake cookies. It will make her feel happy, he told me. Sometimes you just do things to make other people happy. I didn't understand, so he nearly had to whip my butt for me to feel the need to help her. I went over and acted half interested as we mixed ingredients together and baked pies and cookies. If I thought that was bad, it was even worse when her daughter came over with Kathy and took us both to the VFW where kids could have their picture taken with Santa. I remembered what my dad had said about doing stuff to make other people happy, and I certainly didn't want my butt whipped, so I didn't complain. When Santa pulled me on his lap and asked me if I'd been a good girl, I said no. It took him a minute then to get around to asking me what I wanted for Christmas. I shot a glance at Kathy's mom and I realized I needed to talk fast. Could you give a doll to some girl who isn't getting something for Christmas? I asked Santa. Everyone was all smiles about that. I got my picture taken, but my dad said I looked like a deer caught in the headlights sitting on Santa's lap. I shrugged my shoulders. The picture looked good enough to me, so what if I wasn't smiling? At least I wasn't being a crybaby like some of the kids had been. There were plenty things to be scared of. Santa was not one of them. Is there anything you want for Christmas? Daddy asked me in a rather exasperated tone later that night. I thought about it for a few minutes. Then I brightened up. I want to go out to eat at Golden Corral, Daddy, where they have like 1,000 different things to eat, and I want to play with some kittens. He laughed. Okay, we can eat there, and you can get a kitten. I don't want a kitten. I just want to play with some of them for a while. They're all soft and cuddly and innocent. They lose all that once they're an adult cat, I explained. A few days later, I did get to eat at the Golden Corral, and eventually I got to play with kittens. Daddy also bought me a ball and badminton set and a pair of jeans.